Hello and welcome to Reflections, episode 16, Zion Part 4. We're going to go ahead and get started. Here's the intro. Fade in from black, and we have the beginning of Zion. Would you have any opening notes to share?
It's Thanksgiving, so it starts with turkeys.
Starts with turkeys on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
We do not eat these turkeys, so don't.
No, but there were turkeys in the park. But it was kind of cool because it was Thanksgiving.
It was Thanksgiving
We didn't
Day.
plan it that way. I didn't know there would be turkeys there, but it was a fun little treat.
And here they are. We started the hike to Observation Point. A landslide last year took out the other trail, which is a lot longer, but it was in the park. They said this one's not as cool, but still worth the view. We'll see. First pause. We were talking about, if you could see our lips moving, we were talking about just letting it play through and then not pausing at all, because this is...
How long until it's awkward?
How long until it's... I don't know. Maybe we'll watch the tuning out curve.
Yeah.
This cliff, notes about it, is where I was taking a video. Because it's so cool looking, I had to go to like my widest lens, because it's like that's what you see when you're just looking off this cliff. I took a lens cap off, and it's started tumbling and rolling down off of this cliff, and I was like, "Oh, Heather, get that!" And she was in between
cliff edge.
me and the lens cap, Heather, and then the cliff edge, and then she just like leans down and grabs it. And then she was like, "Were you asking me to jump off the cliff?" I was like, "No, I was just asking you to get it." But then
I was very close to the
she
edge.
was very close. So I wasn't saying jump off, because then your survival instincts would be in question then.
I guess so, yeah.
I was just like, before that goes off, can you stop it? And you did.
Yeah.
But then you were like, what if I would have jumped off? And like,
Yeah.
then you would have jumped off for a lens cap.
Yeah.
But it was always like me asking. I never asked you to jump off the cliff.
I know, but you did say, get it.
And you did.
And I got it, but then afterwards I realized how close I was to the edge, and I was like, wait a minute.
I didn't.
Are the cameras more important than me?
No.
We've since realized that that's not true. But
yes.
At this point in our journey, I was still figuring that out.
So that's the significance of this view. Also, not worth Heather's life.
No.
No. But
it is a good view.
It is a good view, is what we're saying. Here we go. That's where the trail got knocked away. Angel's Landing right there.
You said that earlier in the video.
I did say that earlier.
Yeah.
Just FYI. I know.
There's like a really, really long trail that takes you up to like an observation point.
Unavailable
or
now.
2 observation point, but it wasn't available. I don't know if it's fixed now, but
right, yes.
In 2020 it was not an available option because there had been a landslide, so you had to drive out of the park to where we went, and then the trail's a lot shorter. But
yes,
anyways.
That is why we do reflections. And then Angel's Landing. You see, this is why it's part 4, because in part 2 we did Angel's Landing, and that is where we were. But
and I was like, oh, this is such a great view, like when we were up there.
Right.
Like I was like, what's gonna top this? Like observation point, okay.
So honestly, that trail being knocked out probably saved us, because we did just do a bunch of...
We were way too tired to be doing a 20-mile trail on our last day.
We needed to just drive up and walk up to and it was just a short, not that long, yeah. But you get this view here, and Angel's Landing right there. Makes it look really small from up here. But what's going on inside of Heather's head right now is what, to me, this kind of
conveys,
implies that you might want to wonder next, because it's not really about the view anymore. Because I have a million shots of the view, but now I'm like, oh, what I'm trying to do with perspectives is like show how we were feeling while we were there too. Like that's important.
Like what we were going through, yeah.
And so this is like probably the first time I noticed that you're like feeling a certain type of way, but I don't know if I necessarily thought that
at the time,
because I was so tired and just ready to go home, kind of. And that's why I say this here. There's nothing else to do.
What do you mean?
We done it. We did the Narrows, Angel's Landing.
I'm sure there's plenty more to do.
We did all the big stuff.
Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean this is all there is left to do? Yeah.
So you thought that this was like the last big trip I wanted in my life, and now I'm retired now.
Yeah, I was like, oh wait, this was it, because it was like a big deal, because like you'd been hyping up this place for 4 years and doing the Narrows, and that you were like, I waited for you and I wanted to come back and do it with you, and then we did it, and then you were like, that's all there's left to do, and then I'm like, what do you mean? Like, this is it? Like,
oh
yeah, I don't know. I think, judging on my face and my reaction to that, I think even if I wasn't really like aware that that's like what I was wondering, like I think that's what I was wondering, like, oh, is this like the only trip that we need to do then? Like, because you just created this thing called Go There, Do That.
Yeah.
So if that means that we just go on this one trip.
Nope.
I'm like, no, there's more. Like, I know I want to do all, yeah.
No,
I want to keep going.
I was like, how much more footage do I need to capture? Like, I was thinking, where nothing else to do capture footage wise, But even like we were still sitting there, so then I'm like, well, I'm still gonna capture footage, because you're like, what do you mean, are we done? And I'm like, yeah, this was the end of the video, the first Zion video.
Yeah.
That was the end.
It stopped with like the shot of me on the edge.
How
like,
cool.
Yeah.
Great.
The view.
Wonderful. Mysterious. Like open-ended, I guess.
The end.
Well, what happens after we see the big view of the whole park?
Yeah.
You
It
know?
wasn't over. Yeah.
And then chipmunks come out, and that's 4 minutes in. This is the for me back then. This was the end of it.
Yeah. Well, and
me.
I also remember you being like, "That's it," and then I like sat there because I was like, "No, like, well, if this is it, then I want to sit at this point for a long time." And so we sat there for like a good while.
Enough for the chipmunks to crawl around us. Which here they are now. The chipmunks enter. That one was like right next to you. That's yeah, like they would brush up against you, and
Yeah, they were very close to me.
it's basically the top of the park, right? Ready to go back? Did that face look ready?
No, I was very sad. I was like, I don't want it to be over. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, because then it like hits you, and I'm like, you go, yeah,
And it was
back to everything.
in watching this, not like editing it, where I was like, oh, that's what it is. You miss. You're sad. You're gonna miss this.
Yes, like knowing that it's not
Yes.
even like I hate my life
Yes.
back home or anything. Like, yeah, things were stressful, but like,
Yeah.
you know, but it was more like, oh, this place was really magical, and I know that
Yeah.
it will be with me forever, and I'm going to feel
Yeah.
like a loss when we leave here,
So
because I know that I really appreciated
Yes.
this place.
This is it. We're done hiking after this. Not forever, but until we get some rest. Because this is, what has it been, 4 days straight of this?
Are we going to hike at Mount Charleston though?
Oh yeah, I forgot. We got to hike one more time.
So yeah, you're still like, this isn't over.
Yeah, I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
we still have another place to go. Like, I'm gonna get every,
One more
yeah.
time. When we go to Mount Charleston. But we'll be done for today. But I'd say Observation Point was worth it.
I agree.
There it is.
Thank you.
So that's what, to me, experiencing Zion is like, that's a good, like, goodbye.
Yeah.
The sun setting.
Like what it feels like to kind of drive
It's
around there.
wonderful just to drive through it. Like, that is what it's like, because if you can time it with a sunrise or sunset through Zion, it's super cool, and that's like worth it alone to me. Anyways, we saw these 2 deer, and then we walked down to the river, and this is what happens. And it's very special. Yep. I think that's something I'm okay with, just being defenseless against little baby deer. You know? Like, it, so throughout these videos and the footage, I've noticed at the very end of every day, I was getting deer through all 4 parts. They end, or
Because they would get active,
Yes.
like at sunset, yeah.
sunset and sunrise. So at the end of the day, we were just hanging out there.
Because it was, as you can see,
It was pretty cool.
it was a pretty beautiful place to be hanging out at sunset,
Yes.
regardless.
Yes.
We knew there was like a mom and a baby around because we had seen them like before we went down to the river.
Yes.
But it's not like,
Could have predicted that.
no, yeah. But
However.
yeah.
I'll let you tell the story,
Okay.
and if somebody wants to,
Yeah.
like, I think that's cool.
You had been, since like before we even got into Zion, like you were talking about this trip and you were like really excited for the footage. You'd been there, and so like you knew how beautiful the place was. Like you were going to be getting stuff like you'd never really gotten before. And you were talking so much about how you wanted to get a male deer, like a buck, at sunset or sunrise, drinking from the river with like the sun behind it, and it would be like the shot. And I was like, okay, yeah, but that's not gonna happen because like those are such like perfect circumstances. And so like I think I was more just like, well, don't be disappointed if you like don't get that shot. Like
Yes.
it is about the like that is what it's about. Like we're kind of doing that. Doing this definitely puts you in a better position to experience moments like that and like get the shot and like those kind of like peak moments like that. But I was kind of like, okay, yeah, like we'll see though. And then this little gift happened at sunset, and it wasn't like the buck,
It was a baby.
it was a baby.
The beginning.
So sometimes like the gift is, you know, having an idea of like what you hope for,
But it's a baby.
but the universe might have other plans that are even like better, you know.
Because it's like, hey, it's just starting out. Chill out.
Yeah, this is your first trip for Go There Do That.
And-
You're not getting the buck.
The first, like, out of state, like, it
Yeah.
was more serious, more on our own. We can't just drive back home if we need something
If we forget a
type
lighter.
of trip. And then I'm gonna, since this is 4 years later, I can bring in our modern now times into it really quick, briefly. Our trip to Colorado that we're now posting plug recently
Yeah, day one just posted.
this posted.
Yeah.
So looking back, the photo that I took is of I know it's an elk, I know it's a different species, I know it's a different every genus, whatever, kingdom Animalia.
But the symbolism
But
of
the
it.
symbolism of it is chapter 1 is called Independence in the Colorado videos, and we have the elk with antlers, which is
At the sunrise.
the sunrise.
Yeah.
And so that's like
Yeah.
it's a fully grown one, and it's like beginning at this was the sunset.
Well, like when you got that one, it was like, oh, this was like you growing up too. Like growing up literally, but then also like with your abilities, like growing into your
but also this is revealing
skills.
too much. Like we think a lot, but we try to insert ourselves into our work all the time. I know that this is just me trying to make sense of.
well, we insert ourselves into our lives. So like
That's what I mean.
we think about things like having meaning.
This is deeply personal.
Yes.
And so that's
Yeah.
why I think I have to make it deeply personal to me.
It was a big deal. It felt like a
Yes.
big deal when it happened. It's still a
Yes.
big deal looking
Yes.
back on it now today. Like
Regardless,
it's still
beautiful. It's a beautiful thing that happened regardless.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to say.
It was very
Yeah.
special to us, and I mean, it's a beautiful moment.
And so then, but then the reality is, after that happened, this is the reality. This is our true selves, though. What we're about to reveal. If you made it through that, you get to see how we dealt with things now after all that.
What?
So it's our last night here at the lodge. We didn't do everything, but we did a lot. Overall, I'd say it was a pretty great time.
I would have to agree with you.
And now it's time for our Thanksgiving dinner. And I don't know if this is the first year they've done it. Seems like it's the first time ever for having a Thanksgiving dinner at Zion, served by Zion staff. Zionites.
Oh, like the first time. Yeah, I think they do it every year for Thanksgiving, but
Yes.
then this year, because it was COVID, everything was like packaged to go. We didn't like eat in the cafeteria or whatever, and then like obviously buffets during COVID. I'm not a buffet person.
A to-go buffet,
really
though?
either. So it was like perfect for me because I was like, I probably wouldn't have liked it as much if it was like how it was normally. But then we just like got to grab our food and go. Yeah.
But this is not what we didn't know what to expect.
Yes.
I don't think, because a to-go buffet in my brain doesn't really make sense.
It didn't make
So,
sense to me either.
yeah.
I didn't know how it was gonna work.
It should be pretty good. We'll go look once Heather's done reading this brochure.
The top down takes a full day or overnight. It's 16 miles one way.
She's reading about the Narrows. All right, well, I'm gonna go check out the food. Heather,
Wait.
she wants me to wait, but I don't think I will.
I'll always wait.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to prompt you, because you were still reading.
Yeah.
I didn't understand what you were trying to do.
I was interested. I was just like taking in the brochure, like we were done. I think I was just like seeing, like, did we do like all we could do? I think I was doing research on the Narrows because I was like feeling like my body was feeling a little bit better than it had when we went before. So I was like, maybe we could go like further into it because we were leaving the next day. But then I was like, well, all we have to do is drive back to like Vegas, to Mount Charleston, near Vegas. And so I was like, maybe we would have time for like another hike in the morning. And so then I was like looking at the Narrows, but then I was like, oh, it's 16 miles, like to do the whole thing.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
In the morning.
In the morning before you leave. But I was like, I don't know, like maybe, yeah. I was just really, it was hard like letting it go. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm
Yep.
gonna wait, but I don't think I will.
If it's a buffet, you don't know what to get me. So stop.
What if you went over there and we read it on the way?
I just can't believe that we just got here. Like we did it forever. And this is all we got to. Oh, so right here is the end of the bottom up hike. But it would take you 4.5 hours to get there. And okay, so 8 hours. Makes sense. So.
That was me realizing that we couldn't do it in the morning before we left. 'Cause I was like 8 hours.
8 hours is a little far.
Yeah, because I was like 4.5 hours. But then it like processed and I was like, so 8 hours total, 9 hours if it's 4.5 hours. Yeah, so.
We went as far as we could. The day we went. So.
Yeah. I think what got me though was I was like, we did hike like all day that day. Like we probably hiked for at least 4 hours.
Yes, we did.
But like total, you know, there and back. And then so I was like, oh, the realization of knowing that you just saw, like, we saw so much, I know, but it was just like such a little part of it, and I just wanted more. I guess I'm a greedy little goblin. I don't know.
Well, I think you're still thinking this is the last trip we'll ever take in our lives.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, because I'm like, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what is gonna happen, and like, yeah, especially like through COVID. Like this was November 2020, and so it's like we were allowed to do this, but it was still kind of like looking around, like, are we really allowed? Like, you know,
I haven't made any videos. No, you know, I haven't formed an LLC.
Yeah,
like
it still wasn't fully like opened up again. Like, so like traveling still felt like something you kind of weren't allowed to do, but it was like, well, yeah, but like I can't help myself. I'm sorry.
They're still serving food here. You know.
Yeah, like it looks like I'm allowed to be here, but also it feels weird. And then also, like, when's the next time I'm going to be allowed to go somewhere? Like, apparently the world can just shut down.
Yeah.
And that is crazy. And so I only did a little part of the Narrows, and I want to do more. And there's still so much more to do.
You're right.
Yeah, this was like realizing.
I can't argue against you.
Yeah.
But during the time, that's what you were thinking. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
All right. There's the lodge, Heather.
I know.
Are you excited? Are you more cold than excited?
No. I'm more excited than cold. That's why I'm walking so fast.
That part just makes me giggle because it's like this whole sequence could have just like us been walking up, there's
Yeah.
people there, us leaving, but you don't really have like that much context about what's going on other than like what we've said.
Yeah.
But then you like walk up and there's like an announcer, order up, like it's, I don't know, it
It's
like
really
fits
funny.
with it, and it was just maybe just makes me giggle.
That's why I paused it.
Yeah.
Because you laugh every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, just not.
Do you need any creamer or sugar or something?
Yeah. So the buffet part of it is we didn't realize. I thought you were gonna like pick one of each of these things, but then you just get up there and they handed you a box, and I was like, "What? You don't know which one I wanted? Like, what do you mean?" But
And then
you'll see in a moment.
Yes.
I'll do.
Yes. Heather set the table.
Happy Thanksgiving! What are you gonna record us eating?
It's a historic Thanksgiving. Here we have our fireplace.
So they give you everything that was listed on the menu. It's you didn't pick.
You don't
So
get a
then I was
choice.
like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's so much."
They just handed it to you.
But then I was also like delighted. I was
Yes.
like, "Oh, this is like so special." Like, yeah, it was really cool. Yeah,
And then I'm going to just let this play under us
yeah.
as we talk about it.
Okay.
So, yeah. Desserts. Yeah, everything that was on the menu. And then this photo, we have this photo somewhere.
Yeah, and it's so like it won't be posted anywhere ever because it's ugly.
Can I show it?
You used like a widescreen, and then yeah, it just like is funny looking, but you also had to use it because there was so much. Yeah, you can show it, whatever. But it's not an attractive photo.
Okay.
But yeah, I was very delighted by the spread, and then it was also really special because it was like our first time. This was us starting like a new tradition, because most of the time, we would spend Thanksgiving with family, and that is like a really good time. Like we would enjoy Thanksgiving with our families, but we started doing things like this around like holidays.
Because of vacation days?
Because of vacation days, exactly. And so it also like meant that we kind of needed to start our own traditions if like that's what we wanted to do. And then,
Yeah.
but like I am not going to make like a Thanksgiving dinner for us while we're like traveling or camping or whatever. And so it was like fun to experience because we still got like the Thanksgiving feeling.
Yeah. Yep.
But then it was us doing something new like for ourselves and having all these like new experiences. It was just kind of like the cherry on top.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful that we made this choice for ourselves.
Don't regret it. Yeah.
I know. It is hard to like know when something is different, like when to do something different for yourself, because how am I able to make this happen? And it's like you just have to make certain sacrifices within your own life, and then it's like, well, it's nice when good things happen
Yep.
too.
Yep.
Like this is a fun thing. We didn't really have a table in our room though,
No.
but we didn't even want to eat on the bed.
Yeah.
So,
We're not bed eaters. Yeah.
or we had a table and I was using it for camera stuff.
Probably.
Like I don't know.
Probably.
It was just limited.
Well, we wanted to sit down.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
cold outside. We couldn't eat outside, and so this was like fine.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. But also I wanted to talk about like the music in this video. because
Oh, right.
something you've done like throughout the Zion like perspectives is incorporate music from the original Zion video that you made like in 2021.
Yes.
Like you've sprinkled it in there, and then this video is like chocked full of like the Zion songs. Like honestly, probably every song in this video is
Yep.
an old song that was used in the original Zion video, and so like that was really cool for me because it just like sparks that like memory too of even because Zion, the original Zion video was like the second video you ever really made. For Go There Do That, and like with all of this, and it is like fun to watch like your little like our home videos, and so yeah, I've seen that video a lot, and so that music like triggers something in me, something positive. But I will never forget the moment that I like realized the part where we're at the river with the deer, and you were like using a different part of the song than was normal, and it's just kind of like this ooh, and then it like comes in, and then I recognize the song, and then it just like made my heart swell because I realized it was that song, that moment at the river. It was like the first time you showing the deer footage as well in the video. You didn't show it in the original Zion video because it almost felt like this like secret moment for us to like keep to ourselves at the time. Like it was epic enough without all that, and then that was just like a sweet, beautiful goodbye to Zion. But also sometimes we're like, well, we don't want to freak people out. Like put too much,
Yes.
you know. But yeah, anyways, the songs were a really special touch.
It's like,
So kudos.
I think
You care about the videos you make. Yeah.
I would like to think that is abundantly clear.
Yeah.
It feels that nature will always have a surprise for you if you're actually like looking for it.
Open
and I know
to it, yeah.
I know that Animal Planet, BBC Earth, and National Geographic have been mentioned to me personally, anecdotally, that it's like, well, why don't you aspire to make things for them? But then it's like, well, I do make things for other people. I just don't put that on Go There Do That.
Right.
Go There Do That's purely for me what I would like to make, which is, I think, a marriage between a marriage and nature. Because I try to show, like, you walk down that same river path first, and I'm like, yeah, it's nice to see you looking at this and enjoying the view. But then I just said, I'm not sure what made me stay and made me pick the right equipment, but putting it on a tripod and just being still with it was the only way for me to record, because me running up and down the river would have scared off
Right.
a baby
Nothing
deer.
would have came down there.
Yes, but it was like Bambi-esque. The mom at first not
Yeah.
being a little weary, and then I didn't see the mom at all when it came and went. So
Well, I was
Yeah.
like up kind of exploring something else more like on the trail by the river, and then I could see the mom, and me and the mom were like looking at each other, but I like wasn't moving, and we were just
Yeah.
like watching each other, but she wasn't like afraid. And then I come back down, and then you show me that footage, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's like the baby. Yeah.
yeah. Well, it was important to be noticed by nature and like acknowledged.
Yeah, it like looked at you, like it knew you were there,
and then
but
it
it
was
wasn't
safe.
afraid. Yeah.
So that's probably a part of it, is like, well, how controlled is this environment? Because it is around a bunch of people and they are used to people, but it's still a beautiful little isolated moment. But there's buildings around and
Yeah.
stuff. It's still these things still happen.
Yeah.
I guess is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's hard to think that they.
But like to be open to it, because like
Yeah.
I mean, like at the end of the day, you would have to be okay with just like spending your evening on the river, like
Relaxing.
getting the sunset. Even like you're not guaranteed that a little baby deer is gonna come down and want to drink water, but like
Right.
either way, it's pretty beautiful. Yeah.
And I must note those little white
Yeah.
things floating in that shot with the tree, that I didn't add any CGI to that. It was like the seeds from this plant. And I will admit that I brushed up against them, and that's what caused them to start floating, because I was walking to a
Yeah.
spot, and then I was like, oh, those were floating through the air. And so then I just set the camera up, and
Yeah. and
they did
got
their
it.
thing. So that was, but you can add filters and effects to make that happen too. Like, yeah. So I really like this video, and I'm excited to have done it.
Yeah, we didn't talk much through it until the end because it's just like I don't have a lot to say about it, and I don't mean that in a sense of like, it wasn't incredible, so it's like I just don't have that much to say about it. But yeah, this is like my favorite perspectives video so far, and I'm like, just sit with it. If you don't get it, I don't know what to tell you. Like, we can talk about the kind of some of the unknown things and things that we just like find delight out of, but like I think that it kind of speaks for itself. Yeah.
And we can't have a habit of that.
Yeah.
We're just watching it, but it's part 4.
Yeah.
Like, we've talked about it a lot.
Yep.
It all led up to that baby deer, in my opinion, because that was the last thing that happened.
Yeah.
But we could have spent it in our room, just being like, well, we'll turn in early. But you spend
I was like, no, we need to get every second.
while there's still daylight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we eat after the sun goes down. Like, so
Yep.
camera rules, light, you got to do what you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope you enjoyed the video perspectives and this video.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if it's just Ethan watching this in the future,
That's
I
all
hope
right,
you
too.
enjoyed it too. Yeah. Those are your thoughts. You can't add any more. It's done. We're not coming back. That's all. Thanks for watching. Go to do that.